I tell people, forget the numbers. The numbers will come by default if you're just doing it. It's again, it's a number game, right? But so it's a law of average. You need to talk to a lot more people, right? That's one. Two, you need to be not looking like, oh, I'm going to get my 1 for the day or 2 for the day, right? You just want to look at, or for the month, whatever your target is. You're going to look at like how many people I'm going to service and help and give them a solution today. And every day I want to serve and help more people. And so if you go with that mindset and you actually have that real attitude about it, people will just love to actually get that service and product from you, and they're going to continue doing that. And you'll see the numbers coming in like from nowhere. Like, they'll be like, I was told about you from so on and so forth. And then I get another call, you get an email, a text. And then you build in business. And imagine if you did this every day and every month you get new referrals. I mean, your numbers are going to multiply.
It's going to be exponential growth. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that, because I think even just getting up in the morning, okay, who am I going to help today? Mm-hmm. Instead of going, oh, I have to do all these things. Completely changes your attitude first thing in the morning, right? Well, welcome back to the Professional Rule Breaker podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Walterhouse, and I'm known as the Professional Rule Breaker. But I have to say, my guest today is also a professional rule breaker. You might remember his name. His name is Hurricane H. That's actually his nickname that he goes by, because this is part 2 of my interview with my friend Hurricane. I want to ask you this question. For the people out there, since you're a sales guru too, for the people out there that are struggling in sales, can you give them some advice on what to do?
So it's a big word, struggle in sales. I mean, what level of struggle they have, right? I mean, is it finding the customers? Is it pitching? Is it closing? I mean, that's the other. I mean, is it because there's the prospecting, right? And just finding the opportunity. And sometimes you have the opportunity, you just can't close because you are afraid to ask for example, money. A lot of people have that problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's understanding, first of all, you said the key word. You have to have the signature. You have to be honest. You have to be, I think we had that discussion in the previous show you and I had. It's about having that direct, personality, that you are not just bullshitting people. If you have a solution, that's going to work and you believe in it. That's the other thing. You can't sell something you don't believe in. I'm sorry. You can sell it, but you will struggle because it will be very difficult and people can read through. You might sell it to a few, but not to the many that you want. 2 is you want to make sure that you are an expert in what you say and what you do and your whatever industry you're in. Because that's the other part, because people are going to not only want a solution, but they want to know how it's going to apply to them. And also you need to be able to understand what the needs are from these people, which means you have to do a little bit more digging. So I have you in front of me as a potential prospect, but what does that mean? Nothing. Right. I know that you might need the service, but I need to know everything about you, whether the service and what part of the service is going to work and what may not work. And if I give you all those things, you're almost basically sold already. You see, and that's one. So that's in terms of as interacting. Prospecting is I hate, for example, something I see all the time. I get solicitations on LinkedIn all the time.
Oh my gosh, me too. Oh yes.
But here's the thing, I look at them like, do you look at my profile? Do you see like what I do? I mean, if you see what I do, you probably will not even reach out to me because I'm not your customer, right?
Exactly.
And how would you do that? So that's the thing. That's how you struggle. So you can't be just automated level here. You have to have understanding of who is your audience, what are you selling, who you selling to, what you're selling, all this stuff. That's one. So the struggle is not real. The struggle is just a lack of understanding of where you are. Some people are in sales and there's pressure in sales. I think that's the other part, because you're being pushed. You stumble and you just basically start like, just scrambling things, and you're not really, I mean, I use a SMART, formula, right? So you have to be specific, measurable, all that stuff. If you use that, and understanding every single thing, if I meet with you, we're going to go step by step, the SMART piece, the measurable piece, the actionable, and so on and so forth. We're going to go step by step and make it. I need to have an understanding of what it is. And I'm not going to go to everybody. Now, there is a customer, I always say this, there's a customer for every product or service, and there's a product and service for every customer or person out there. is mine there. You're not going to sell the world. I mean, you could. Depends on what you have. I mean, if you're selling water, I think you can sell to everybody, right? So it depends what you have. But the struggles are difficult if you're not really engaged properly, or really if you're hard into it. Because again, if you're lying to sell or using pressure tactics, you're going to struggle a lot, because people are going to
Mhm.
read to you, and nobody's going to invite you in. And even if you did, you're not going to be able to move past the first few minutes. Oh, thank you very much. I'm not interested. Have a good day. Bye bye. That's it.
Yeah,
Oh, we'll call you later.
exactly.
And that's what's going to happen. Now, if they, we, I use this in training. You want to spend some time with your prospect, get to know them. And when you go in, spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you have to, bullshit with them. I'm talking about, like, just socialize, you know, get to know them more. And by the way, if they spend 20, 30 minutes with you, they're not going to spend a lot more time with other people if they are your competitions, because they already gave you that time. But if you make it profitable in terms to their benefit, in terms of their time, in terms of, like, connect with them, from really, the good stuff, they're gonna want to hear more from you, and they're gonna believe that you are correct, that you're honest and stuff, because you are genuine, when you're doing that. If you're just coming straight to the kill for the kill, and you just 1 2 3 boom, and stuff, and you just go like robotic, like what they expect from any salesperson, you
Right.
end it right there, and they're just basically going to be very cool. But if you open up to them, they open up to you, you have a better chance to move to the next stage. And not only that, if they like you, all their entourage is yours. And in
That's
sales and
right.
true business, is your referral, is where your best, bet is. You can use all the marketing in the world. Your open rate and your close ratios are going to be very small. You have to talk to thousands to get a few hundreds to actually close a few tens, right? And if you actually have a good referral, system, and people are going to say, hey, talk to Kathy, she's great. Oh, I'm talking to Kathy, because I
That
know
is the
that
best of
there,
all.
there
I mean, that's
there
the
is.
easiest sale out there, isn't it? The referrals. I mean, and the funny thing is, do you find that a lot of people don't ask for referrals? Like a lot of salespeople, I'm like, how do you not ask for a referral? If you've done a really good job with a customer and you've really helped them and they love you, why on earth aren't you asking for a referral? Or even asking, hey, do you know this person? Like, let's say you have somebody that you have always wanted to get in front of, and for whatever reason you can't. Why not ask one of your other customers, hey, do you happen to know them?
Oh, I do better.
Yeah.
I do better. When I meet with people, I'll and when I also train my team, I tell them, when you are trying to get in an appointment, you know, ask them, is there anybody else that you'd like to
Yep.
invite, your neighbors, your family, that, since I'm going to be there anyways, let's just talk and see, how I can benefit everybody. You can almost get your referrals, not even getting them later. Now, but you're right.
That's a
People don't.
great point. Great point. Yeah.
It doesn't take much, right? I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm presenting to 1 or 10. It's the same thing, right? So
Yep.
I can, it's the same pitch, and I'll get more engagement. I'll have more fun with them, and that's it. I mean, think about a seminar, right? Same concept. You just have more people in one room. Same concept here, that you can do that, and it's a wholesale opportunity. But I think the main problem why people don't ask is the same problem where they don't close, or they don't ask for the close, or because they're just, not smart enough to realize that this is not it's a number game, number
Mhm.
one, and you're not going to win by onesies. You're going to win in wholesale opportunities, and you're going to get more of the referrals. People have to like you, and they see the value, and you have to deliver also. And then they can realize, because I guarantee you right now, anyone watching, you don't just tell your friends to go to anyone that you don't like. You're going to tell
No,
them,
absolutely
use my
not.
lawyer, use my construction guy, you use my attorney, use my, I don't know, my CPA, whatever. You always give them the ones that, don't use this one because he's bad or she's bad.
That's right.
We say it exactly that. So if we are using that rule, then as salespeople, we also know that that applies to us as humans. We have to apply the same thing, and you got to be perfect at it. And by the way, ask for it. I mean, it's not gonna. What's the worst that can happen, right? They're gonna
I
say,
love how
"Oh, I
you
don't
say
have."
that. What's the worst that can happen? That's the thing that I always try to train people on, right? What's the worst that can happen? If you ask for the sale,
Well, here's the thing. Well, the sale definitely you want, but
the
even for
sale
the
or
refer,
anything, or even just trying something. Yeah.
you start with zero, then you everything else is ahead of zero, so you're good. you know, I mean, remember, this is the part where I think most people in the world struggle. Talking about struggle is that you start from a point where there's nothing, anything else is better than nothing. So you're still ahead of the game the minute you start doing something.
Right. Right.
Right. I mean, because that's what
Exactly.
it is. We start from not having whatever we're looking for, and then we start building to get whatever we want. And so the problem is, I think when people get somewhere, it's hard to come back to that point of zero. But if you actually determined in your life that no matter what, I go point zero, I'm still okay, then you're okay. Nothing's going to phase you. Nothing's going to worry you because you're always going to be able to restart. And that's the other thing. If you started once, you can start 10,000 times, later. So, and that's the other thing. It makes you better. In sales, that's a rule
That's a
every
rule.
day.
It's actually you brought something up because if you have that mindset that you're talking about, isn't it a lot easier when you get the no's or, because in sales, you're going to get no's, whatever. Isn't it a lot easier then if you have that mindset that you were talking about to let it just roll off your shoulders? Because I had somebody that said to me, how do you just change your mindset? Like, I got a bunch of no's today, and how do you snap out of it? And I was, and it was an interesting question because for me, because I've done this for so long, that stuff just rolls off my shoulders, right? Because I believe in what it is that I'm doing, and it's not for everybody.
I've actually been in situations when we were talking, and then I realized this is not for a person. Like, I'm sorry, but Kathy, this is not for you. I don't think,
Yeah,
I thought this may be helping you, but knowing more now, this is not for you. And literally, that's how the discussion went. But if you know someone else that you might think this would work for it, I'll be more happy to talk to them again. So it happens. But to that person that has that challenge of like, oh my God, I can't get over like all my objections today and my lack of closing. Well, here's the thing. It's just another day. There will be
right.
better days. Another day. Tomorrow you start fresh. Every day is a new beginning, a new day. You go for the max, you go for the best, the most opportunities. And here's the best way I always present it to my teams is how many people I'm going to help today.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If you go with that, again, idea is that I'm going to help people today. Whatever service or product I have, of course you have to believe, right? But if you do believe, first of all, if you don't believe in a product, you shouldn't be selling it. You should move to somewhere else.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
if
Oh
you
my
believe in
goodness.
what you, right? I mean, because
But sometimes people will stay for years with a company and have just kind of like average results, you know,
the
just because
paycheck.
they don't, yeah, a paycheck, just because, they don't want to move to somewhere else. And I'm not about average at all. I don't like average. I
I
don't
hear
think
you.
you do either.
No. Well, it's a joke. We don't settle for 100%. It's 120% and beyond in sales, but in
Yep.
life too. I think that's the part. Sales is life. I mean, it's just a different. We almost lock it in the concept of sales, but we do this every day. I mean, you can't settle for average or for nothing. I mean, in life, I mean, that's if you do, that's when you don't see results in life and you're like, what's going on? Why my life is not going,
Mhm.
you know in a good direction. I don't see me doing anything. Well, that's because you're settling. I mean, you have to keep moving. You got to keep doing stuff and just improving your lifestyle, slowly but surely. It doesn't have to be extravagant stuff. I'm talking about just basic stuff. If
Mhm.
it fulfills you, that's it. That's important. But to your point, if you're in sales and there's a target, there's stuff, you don't go look beyond the target. See, that's the other thing. I tell people, forget the numbers. The numbers will come by default if you just do it. It's again, it's a number game, right? But so it's a law of average. You need to talk to a lot more people, right? That's one. Two, you need to be not looking like, oh, I'm gonna get my one for the day or two for the day, right? You want to look at, or for the month, whatever your target is. You got to look at like how many people I'm gonna service and help and give them a solution today. And every day I want to serve and help more people. And so if you go with that mindset and you actually have that real attitude about it, people will just love to actually get that service and product from you. And they're going to continue doing that. And you'll see the numbers coming in like from nowhere. Like, they'll be like,
Absolutely.
I just, I was told about you from so on and so forth. And then you get another call, you get an email, a text. And then you build in business. And imagine if you did this every day and every month you get new referrals. I mean, your numbers are going to multiply.
It's going to
And
be exponential growth.
that's
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that because I think even just getting up in the morning, okay, who am I going to help today?
Mhm.
You know, what am I, instead of going, oh, I have to do all
Oh,
these things.
another
It's
day.
who am I going to help today? Yeah. Completely changes your attitude first thing in the morning, right? Because it's not this grocery list of things that you have to do, but you get to do something cool. You get to make a difference in somebody's life, right?
But
So,
Kathy, I laugh about it because I always tell people this is not for it is not for everyone, right? But you have to have fun with it. You got to enjoy every moment of it. What I tell my team, we all my teams, over the years, I always say this: we all bullshit every day. I mean, literally, everybody talks, right? I mean, people talk you cannot look at two or three people in anywhere that are quiet unless they're looking at the phone. They're chatting, and they're chatting
yeah.
just nonsense sometimes, and maybe positive stuff. I don't know, whatever they chatted. But the point I tell people is like, we use the same skill to help people and help ourselves by helping others. And so that's all there is. So enjoy the moment, enjoy how it is, learn your stuff and be good there, be with the mission to help more. And you're going to find people just really motivated to come to you and refer you to others. And they'll be your best actually promoters. And,
Hmm.
and that's the thing in sales. You want people like, oh, you want to talk to Kat, talk to Kat, and
Yeah.
that's how it's going to go. Now, if you're not that at that level yet, you can evolve to that, but you have to reconfigure your own approach about it. But you're right. The morning is everything. You wake up in the morning, great new day. I'm going to have the best day today, and every day is your best day. Or
Yeah.
and that's
Absolutely.
it. So yesterday is gone. Now you might have terrible days every now and then, but I guarantee you, if you did it correctly, you're going to have a lot less terrible days and a lot more positive days and productive days. And it works. I don't know how it does because your attitude makes a difference. Your energy makes a difference. If you go into people and you're just robotic and slow and you're not clear or you're not able to answer the questions, and I'm purposely slow in my speech, you know, that's kind of like the vibe. Is I killed the vibe right there. I went from high pitch to low pitch, right? The same concept in sales. If you're like, now there's a hesitation. People always, oh, he's the sales guy, she's a sales guy, and we're not really salespeople. I always refer to ourselves as advisors or consultants, and
Hmm.
that's when you actually
Partners,
differentiate.
right?
That's it. We're providing a solution. I don't have
Hmm.
to sell you
We're like
anything.
the piece in the puzzle. We can help them, with that.
We identify and we match the product to the right potential prospect for it, and that's all service. And that's the thing, you don't have to pitch. I mean, sales is a process. It's an art. There's a science behind it. There's methodology and all stuff. That's the technical stuff. But in essence, it is still an exchange of ideas and an exchange of personal feelings and energy. And if I do the right thing with you and I do it correctly, first of all, obviously you don't want to be pitching the wrong audience because you're going to have a lot of no's. And then that's the other thing. So talking about your first question about the struggle, if you're prospecting in the wrong place, and the example of
It's
LinkedIn,
it,
people are just coming to me for the wrong, aspect of things. I'm not going to be your customer. So therefore you're just wasting time. And then you're going to probably like, I hit 10,000 people today and I got none. Are they the 10,000 people you need to reach out? Or you can hit
right.
1% that is correct and then it's over.
Yeah, and if you're
you know,
spamming, you're going to get a bad name too. In addition to that, and that's the last thing you want is to spam someone. Let me ask you this, because I know you are a rule breaker. So, what makes you a rule breaker? Have you always
so
been a
that
rule breaker? I bet you
oh,
have. No.
always. I've always
Okay.
been. I've always dressed different, did different. I don't do what others do. I do me. I mean, when I was a kid, so it's a good joke. Most of my kids, my at least in my age group in my neighborhood, they played soccer, right? Football, right? Well, football in Europe and soccer here. So,
Yeah.
and so for me, I went to martial arts. So I was different. I did gymnastics, believe it or not, for a year. Most guys were not do gymnastics. I did, at least not in that age group. When breakdance became something, I was one of the first breakdancers, and doing my thing there. They used to call me like, breakdance guy, So I've always done something different. I dress differently. I talk differently. I did different things. I do more things than I should. Sometimes I do two, three things at the same time. In business, the same thing. If literally we look at my industry, and most people would not recognize that today, but it is a fact. A lot of the things that are used in the industry, I used them before anybody else did them. I actually started them. And now, unfortunately, we don't copyright these things. We work for companies. You just
Right.
do them, and the companies take them, and they become theirs, and then other companies copy from them. But a lot of the practices, I actually wrote the book for them. In the '90s, and they were copied, and they're now part of the industry, stuff like that. So I even used processes that most of the plans, let's say in my world, and today they still don't do it. And a good example, I'll give you an example, so it's concrete. In our business with the Medicare, business, you present to beneficiaries, and most of people, we know telesales is one thing. You record, but when you do formal sales, in-person sales, you don't record. I started recording presentations and acknowledgement of actually signing up and enrolling the plan uh, back in 2015. All right.
Yeah.
And so actually 2014, sorry. And there was no one that did that in the same format. To date, every company that's
Everybody
doing it,
does it.
I implemented in those companies and they're still doing, but other companies haven't evolved to that. Some companies have
Ah.
not done yet. But I'm saying that was even CMS, which is the body that
Mhm.
governs, our world. They actually, when I presented that to them, they were so happy. It's like, oh, this is like, best practice. This is cool. It's different. They actually gave me and my team a round of applause. That's the thing. It's not about me. It's also about the team that's behind you that works with you, right? We work together. So these are things. I mean, talking about rule breaking is just doing something that is unique, different, be ahead of the game, and always think about how can we improve. Be an innovator, basically, right?
An innovator,
Um,
absolutely. An inventor, an innovator for sure. I mean,
that,
that's what it's really all about, right? And putting things out there, this can provide more value and really help people. So I have to say, I could talk to you like forever. We could do probably like 20 shows and still not run out of things to talk about.
never
But
run out.
I want to ask you, where can people find you? Because I know there's going to be people wanting to look for you.
Oh, so I'm on LinkedIn, just Hicham John Elanmati, Hurricane H, or there's actually another profile with Hurricane H. That's the two profiles. The more predominant one is the Hicham, John Hurricane H Elanmati. That's just the bigger profile. And that's LinkedIn, of course. I'm on Facebook, all social media, YouTube. I'm on Instagram. The Instagram is the EMBC network with Hurricane H. That's, again, it's everything, on the media side, but it's still me. Um, Ultimately, you can, my website, I have the iHealthRadioUSA.com. I have the EMBCTVNetwork.com. There's like 10 websites,
So
literally.
we'll put all your information in the show notes because I think there's a lot of them. We'll definitely put them all
I have a
in.
link. I have a link tree. It's got all of them. So one
Perfect.
link does it all. So
that's
you guys.
that's perfect. And then you can go and explore and see
That's
all
it.
the cool stuff that the hurricane does. But again, I want to thank you for being here today because you're just so fun to be around. And we'll definitely have to do this again. But before we go, I also want to put a message out to the audience as well too, because a lot of things that Hurricane talked about was things that you can implement in your daily business, in your sales business. And everyone out there is unique. So be authentically you because only you can create the ripple effect where you do something good for someone and it ripples. And so, again, just think about how wonderful you are. Wake up in the morning and say, what can I do to help someone today? And again, I love you all. And thank you for joining us at the Professional Rule Breaker. And thank you, Hurricane.